What's amazing is her stances are there for the taking. They're on camera. She ran for president. A lot of this was said in town halls, at presidential debates, in one-on-one interviews with CNN anchors. There's no wiggling out of these prior positions. We can see and hear them for ourselves. But now you're getting the whitewashing, like by Politico. It's a Trump accusation that she opposed fracking. A Trump accusation. Just for the record, here she is in 2019, SOT 21.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. I have a history of working on this issue. And to have to just acknowledge that the residual impact of fracking is enormous in terms of the impact on the health and safety of communities.
I am committed to passing a Green New Deal, creating clean jobs, and finally putting an end to fracking once and for all.
Okay, she opposed fracking. Now it's just a Trump accusation that she did that because suddenly she's realized she needs to win Pennsylvania, where fracking is very important and popular and creates a lot of jobs. So now she doesn't. She doesn't oppose fracking anymore, so they tell us. And you get articles like the one in Politico and this one in the New York Times, where the headline is, Why the Kamala Harris of 4 years ago Could Haunt Her in 2024. Basically, Kamala Harris opposes Kamala Harris. That the subhead is, Republicans are now digging up her old stances and weaponizing them. They're weaponizing the positions, Victor. Literally, they've appeared in, I think, one ad that just plays what she said on fracking, on getting rid of private health insurance and making us all go on Medicare, on the border, which now she says should be funded, but before she said shouldn't, and on a mandatory buyback program for assault weapons, meaning any semi-automatic pistol, that she wants the government to seize from people.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that point. You see, Joe could get away with it because he was in the Senate for over 30 years, and he had to horse trade back and forth. And he was from not really a completely liberal state, Delaware. He used to brag, remember, in kind of bizarre fashion that it had been a slave state. I didn't know what he meant, but I think he was trying to say, I had to be pragmatic to be elected 7 or 8 times in the Senate, but she's never had that problem. She's always been either a San Francisco city attorney or county attorney in the most left-wing area of the United States, or statewide office for attorney general, which, by the way, Megyn, she almost lost. She only won it by about a fraction of 1%. People were so disgusted with her. And then they kind of coronated her as the Senate. And then when she ran, she never got a single delegate, and she pulled out before the primary. But my point is that every environment in which she's worked within has been hard left, and she's adjusted to that, or maybe she was innately that way, but she's never had to articulate a position where there would be somebody who disagrees with her. And that's going to haunt her, because in every one of those quips, every one of those episodes, she doesn't just say she's for fracking or the new Green Deal or amnesties or things like that. She doubles down. She re-emphasizes it. She's unambiguous. She's strident. And that's going to really, I think they're going to do to her what they did to Michael Dukakis in 1988. He came out of that Democratic convention. He said, I'm not ideological. This is not about politics. It's about competency. I had the Massachusetts miracle. I balanced a budget. That wasn't quite true. And George H.W. Bush was kind of hapless. And then they got a guy named, as you remember, Megyn, Lee Atwater. And he ran the tank ad and Willie Horton ad and the Boston Harbor pollution ad. And they hounded him and pounded Dukakis. And when they got through with him, he lost by 7 or 8 points in the popular vote. And that's the last time, by the way, the Republicans have ever won 51% of the popular vote. Because after that, they all turned on Lee Atwater and they said, not in my name. How dare you do that to poor Mike Dukakis? We're better than that. We play by the Marquis of Queensberry rules. He died of a brain tumor. He apologized to Michael Dukakis. But that's how they won that election. And they've lost 7 out of the last 8 popular votes in the presidential election. And part of the reason is Romneyism and McCain and the Bushes. They just didn't want to do what the Democrats do. And Trump is not. He has no inhibition. So I think he's going to do what Lee Atwater did to
I hope he
Dukakis
does.
And redefine. Yeah, I do too. He's going to redefine who she really is, just who Dukakis is. And I think that lead, that kind of artificial bump she got in the polls, is going to dissipate very quickly as people find out what she said and they run clips of her in her own voice.
It's the same dishonest messaging as we saw with Barack Obama, who ran on hope and change. But meanwhile, as I pointed out at the top of the first hour, was sticking the knife in John McCain, suggesting he was a racist. This guy who adopted a girl from Bangladesh, he's a racist. Okay, sure. Mitt Romney's a sexist. Okay, this is all Barack Obama, hope and change. Now we get to Kamala Harris, who's running on freedom, and her boss on unity. Let me show you the latest messaging out of Team Democrat. This isn't from Kamala Harris herself. This is from a PAC supporting her called the Won't Pack Down. It's absolutely disgusting. For the listening audience, you need to know what we're going to play, and you should go to our youtube.com/Megyn Kelly page for this one. You're about to see a bunch of obese men with actual sweat stains in their pits and around the collar, like sweat all over them. They look disgusting. And like overly geeky, weird nerd guys delivering the following messages. Watch.
We want the government involved in all aspects of your sex life.
Way more involved.
Way more involved.
When you have sexual intercourse, it should be illegal to use contraception. No pills, no condoms.
Your genitals are reserved for procreation.
If you freeze 12 eggs, you should be required to have 12 babies, or else you're a serial killer. And I'm definitely not a serial killer.
Are you?
I'm voting in November.
I'm voting in November. We're all voting in November. Are you?
Because what happens in your bedroom is up to me.
Is up to me and my son. Also, mouth stuff is a sin.
That is unbelievable, Victor. That is the most disgusting ad I've seen yet. And that is what the Democrats think of Republican voters.
Yeah, it's kind of the visual counterpart of Barack Obama whining that he lost the Pennsylvania primary. That was to a private group of donors when he said they were clingers. And then Hillary blew up her campaign when she said they were irredeemable and deplorables. And then, of course, she said she was going to put the coal miners out of business. So that doesn't work because this election, unlike 2020, is going to be decided in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And that the degree to which the Republicans can get out the base and get an extra there were about 400,000 or 500,000 conservative, blue collar, white male voters that did not vote in 2020 in those three states. If they can get them out, they're going to win because this time I think they've got a very good chance of winning Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. So that's going to be where it's going to be decided. And that type of commercial is going to hurt them.
It's so offensive, but it's right in line with the messaging we've seen from Kamala Harris, from her supporters. There is a disgusting governor of Illinois, JB Pritzker, who's part of a disgusting family that's been funding the trans agenda being shoved down our throats and that of our children in school. And this guy is auditioning to be her choice for VP, reportedly on the short list, though not one of the top choices. And he is out there peddling this disgusting smear against JD Vance that, forgive me, I hate to even repeat it, that he masturbated into a couch. That's basically it. And this gained such traction amongst these leftist loons that the AP decided to take this far left claim, totally unsupported because they said it was in his book, Another Lie, and to fact check the claim. Oh, we fact checked it. It's not in his book, which is really just a backdoor way of perpetuating and spreading this smear. But to hear it from Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is another thing. Listen to SOT 26.
I mean, on the other side, they're just weird. His running mate, as you probably have heard, is, getting known for his obsession with couches.
That's deeply immoral, supported by messengers like Chelsea Handler, another absolutely gross commentator, always out there swinging for the Democratic ticket. Listen.
This Listen up, you wingnut elegy. This country is still controlled by men in systems that were set up by men that are carefully crafted to continue to benefit men. You sad, diet, Mountain Dew drinking, couch humping, dolphin porn aficionado. And before you tell me he didn't really fuck a couch, spare me. I grew up in New Jersey in the 80s where everyone had a couch in their basement, and I know a couch fucker when I see one.
I don't even know what to say about the level of depravity that is now making its way into the Democratic messaging.
Yeah, I think, again, there's two things they're not going to talk about. They're not going to talk about the Harris-Biden record compared to the prior Trump record and what Trump's agenda will be in 2024. They're not going to do that. And they're not going to talk about Kamala Harris and how she's had a wonderful record as a politician or a vice president or as a senator, and what her vision of America is. Because all of the issues, whether it's a border or crime or inflation or foreign policy or the military, whatever it is, or women and men and women's sports, they don't poll 50%. Except for abortion, we're not going to, and January 6th, it's not going to be, this campaign is going to be on stuff like that, January 6th, and abortion. And we'll see if the Republicans can understand that.
If you are tired of the same old coffee from those mega corporations pushing their woke agendas, and who isn't, listen up. It's time to take a stand and support a brand that embodies American values. At Blackout Coffee, they stand with hardworking Americans who believe in family, faith, and freedom. They roast some of the most incredible coffee you will ever taste using only premium grade beans. And guess what? They roast and ship within 48 hours. To ensure you get the freshest coffee possible. You could start your day with a bold cup of Blackout Coffee, plus it's not just coffee, it's a statement. Why settle for less? Make the switch to Blackout Coffee today by heading over to blackoutcoffee.com/MK or use the code MK for 20% off your first order. Why support these woke coffee companies? Go to blackoutcoffee.com/MK and the code is MK. Join the movement, taste the difference. Remember, with every sip, you are supporting a brand that stands for America. Be awake, not woke. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.